Hello everyone, my name is Nathan Pitt and I'm the practice lead of the Associate Practice Group in the London office of Major Lindsay in Africa. Today we're hosting You Asked and We Answer. So here are your questions and I hope some of these are insightful as you start your job search. If I get a job at a London firm, how much will my relocation cost be? This depends on the firm and the situation. What I typically see in the market is a month's temporary accommodation somewhere to help you get settled in. Moving costs, so that's things like flights, excess baggage, and other bits like that. Sometimes firm will give this as a flat fee. Sometimes they'll connect you with their own people who will do all the moving and things for you. Sometimes you choose it yourself and expense up to a certain budgetary amount. But it does vary firm to firm, but it's typically there to help you get here, settle in a little bit, and then get going with your new job. How can I find the best deals on accommodation? Try temporary apartments, spare room, Facebook groups, things like that, but do be careful. Make sure you go out and vet that place and meet the people that you're going to live with. I always think it's really great when I've lived in other places to spend a couple of weeks at the weekend or in your downtime just exploring areas, getting a feel for where you might want to live. The other thing to notice as well in London is that we don't have a realtor system like in other markets such as the US or Hong Kong. So you actually have to go to each individual estate agent and see what they have available in your budget and price range to help you find a place. And they're typically in the areas that you want to live in. Where is the best place to seek advice regarding visas for myself and family? Definitely speak to an immigration attorney about this one. See if your future employer has one or friends or something like that. They're going to be best placed to give you the best advice that's most current and relevant for your situation. How likely is it that I can secure a role within a UK firm after during SQE qualification, and are there any stats available? London's a really international market and it does depend a bit on the practice area. What I will say is that just because you've come from overseas, what's most important to a lot of law firms that we work with is your actual experience. So things like your deal list and things like that. I don't think it's impactful of whether you've come from another market if you're going to get a job or not. What is important is the type of work you do. So, for example, we've seen a lot of movement in things like finance and private equity, but things like litigation or maybe IP litigation that's a little bit more niche and specific to your market, I think will be hard to find a role here. That's the same for things like tax, where the advice and experience is much more localized. And so you always have to think, why is a firm going to hire me? And then work backwards from there. Where can I network with like-minded individuals and attend events and webinars? Look at law firm websites. They've got a lot of events, LinkedIn networks as well, diversity networks. They all have virtual and in-person events. Particularly, at the moment, we're seeing a lot more in-person networking events available. Also through alumni networks or whether that's firm or educational institutions, they're going to help you find events that you can attend, but definitely LinkedIn and law firm websites are a good place to start. How can I get in touch with potential employers in the UK before I make my decision? Law firm career websites are a really good place to start and have tons of information about the firms and give you a sense of the market. I also advise looking on LinkedIn for people with a similar background to yourself. So maybe you went to the same university or the same law firm or same practice, and see how that journey went for them and where you might find alignment and ideas. Maybe all of them went into a Magic Circle firm, or maybe they studied and did a master's or something. That would be really insightful for your own journey if you can find someone that's done similar. How would I be able to work in a legal department as in-house lawyer in the UK? In-house roles are different to law firm in that it's a marathon, not a sprint. It's so much bigger in terms of market and opportunity, and there's so many companies out there that will hire at all sorts of levels. I would advise you to think about job boards, particularly LinkedIn, obviously, but also think about contract and maybe interim options. 12, 6-month contract. They can sometimes give you a foot in the door and be a route to a permanent job. And that's probably a good way for you to get in-house experience on the ground. How long does it take to qualify in the UK? This will depend on you meeting the SQE requirements set by the SRA. So I would look those up and apply it to your experience and situation. What is the criteria for relocating to the UK to practice law? Again, this all depends on your situation, but the SRA website details how to qualify here, and that should give you a good starting point to figure out your journey. Is it worth it? International experience is definitely worth it if you can make it work with your personal life. I personally have lived and worked in Hong Kong and New York. It's one of the best experiences I've ever had. I saw all sorts of places. I really enjoyed the work. It stretched and developed me, and it's just the best experience to do. If you can make it happen, you definitely got to go for it. I have admission to pursue my master's degree, but I cannot afford to move to the UK. Is there any financial support available? I'd recommend looking at scholarship websites or bursaries. Those sort of what sites will give information on what's available for you and your situation and the requirements for that. Also, your master's degree provider might have a financial aid section, or get in touch with them and ask them. That's probably going to be the most helpful at this stage. Are the UK laws analogous to the laws of my home country? That, of course, depends where you're coming from. Certainly, candidates I've moved coming from markets like Australia, New Zealand, India, Hong Kong, Singapore, even the US, have all found it fine to do the SQE and transfer over. They've found successful careers here. And I think if it's a common law jurisdiction, there's likely to be a lot of overlap. If it's civil law, that might be a little bit trickier and might require some further study, but generally people do transition well into the UK. Is it possible to relocate to the UK without support from my family or country? Our visa system has switched to a points-based system, and so that focuses on your career experience, and depending on that, it could be possible. Again, find a good immigration attorney that's relevant to your situation, and find out all the facts before committing to something, because that's going to help you plan that move over. Are there any free or affordable university courses available? I don't think there are, but there are various government grants and private bursaries available. Back to the previous question we had, so if you do some research, you might be able to find something that's going to help you. What is a procedure for practicing law in the UK from a foreign country? What about financials? Take a look at Barbara's SQE About page, which details the parts of qualification. There's loads of information there to start with, and that can help you work back about financial situation. If you've got good practical deal experience, for example, in the finance space or M&A, sometimes you can get a job before doing that, and the law firm will pay for it. But you need to have really solid experience that's relevant for the market and that law firm to make that successful. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope the Q&A was useful, and if you have any questions, give us a shout.